All right, so today we're going to go over defense tactics. This is for 2023 Oahu Water Polo 16U JO's travel team. So defense tactics. Um, go right into it. All right, so keys here, right? So this is defense tactics. This is strategy, concepts, overall defense in various situations. So these are just some general keys to go over, regardless of what we're working on. Always taking the extra stroke, right? If your offense stops, you will continue to swim until you can get in between them and the goal. BPAC, that's ball, player, area, center. It's just a really great way of kind of having that golden rule of what you need to be focused on or be aware of in priority, right? So always know where the ball is. You need to know where your player is in relation to where they are in the pool, where they are within the rest of their offense. You need to know the general area, right? So it's making sure that you are aware of the area that you're in as well as the center, right? So if you are aware of all of these things, if you understand what's going to happen and you can anticipate where the ball moves, where the player's going, what's happening in your area, and what the center is trying to work for, then you will, ideally become a better defender. Head on a swivel, right? We don't want to get locked in on, I got my man, and so that's all I need to worry about, right? Head on a swivel, it will lead to steals, it'll lead to help defense, it'll lead to creating a team defense. This next point, right? This is a team sport, so it's important that you are working in tandem with the 5 other girls, the 6 other girls, including the goalie in the pool. And we want to force the worst shot, right? So on offense, we always look for the higher percentage shots. On defense, you want to get them to force their worst shot or their lowest percentage shot, right? Don't give up the ones that are higher percentage. Next, listen to your center defender and your goalie, right? They are typically the ones who are facilitating that defense. They're talking, they're moving, they're telling you what's going on. And so it's really important that we work in communication there, which is that next point, communicate, 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 right? We cannot underscore more how important it is to communicate, even if it's just announcing that where the ball is, right? Or even if it's just announcing what's going on. If you're defending a drive, right? Or you have to call for help, things like that. And then anticipate ball and player movement, right? So the more you can anticipate on defense, if it's you're on defense and there's 3 seconds left and the ball is at the 1 and you're at X4, right? That means you can go, right? You're anticipating moving on to offense or you're anticipating where the ball's going. So you might be able to jump up and steal that ball, right? You're going different things there. Those are our keys. Playing the percentages, right? So here we are looking at percentages on shots, right? So typically in a regular 6-on-6, our highest percentage shots are from center, from a drive, a zone shift, shooting off of a pass, and then a defended shot, right? So looking here, the ones that we want to happen the most are defended shots, right? So shots from the outside where you have a defender right in front of you, or you're getting pressure while you're forcing to shoot, typically at the end of a play, right, or at the end of a possession. So first here we have our front and press, right? So front and press means that our center defender is fronting, so they are in between the ball and the center with the goal behind them, right? And then we're pressing, which typically is a high lanes press, right? Which means that we want to stop the ball from swinging, right? Because on offense, if this was our offense and this is what it looked like where the ball is at 4 and we have nobody in set, right? We probably want to swing that ball, right? So that's what our offense on another team was probably going to do. So we need to make sure that we are high in the lanes, right? So that our 3 is denying the ball, the 2 is denying the ball, the 1 is denying the ball, the 5 is denying the ball, and the 6 is denying the ball, right? So you will see, right, everyone here should be announcing press, no foul. You'll hear your center defender and your goalie say, hey, no swing, press, no foul, right? Or you can say, right, like we don't need this person maybe here. It could be a softer press because we actually want the ball to come down here because there's no, right? This is not even a good angle for the center. So here, front end press, right? So high lanes press, we're yelling press, no foul. All right. And then this is just one thing again is they're going to want to swing for center. So this is the note that every single person here should be saying something along the lines of press no foul. All right, now we need to prevent the ball from going center side, right? So this is where they want the ball to go on offense. On defense, again, high lanes, high lanes, high lanes, denying those passes, right? And then trying to deny a foul, right? You do not want to foul because you're offering up that free pass. So this is just You're not overly aggressive, right? You're trying to keep your offender in between your shoulders. You're reaching to deny the pass, right? To try to block her elbow, but you're not getting all up on her that she'll be able to draw that foul. Okay, now let's say that the ball gets all the way over to 1, but our defender does a really good job and they're able to front from the 4 to the 1, right? So in this case, when this happens, kind of flip it to offense, right? If this were us on offense and we saw that we had swung the ball, let's say that there's 12 seconds left in the shot clock, and there's still no center, then we would want to try, right? And so if we know that that's probably what we would do, that's most likely what another team is going to do, right? This is pretty basic offense across the board, nationally, internationally. So here, if we know that a drive is coming, right, then we want to press no foul. We don't need to drop back, but we know that that drive is going to come. So we want to work on staying ball side, taking that extra stroke, and then calling for help if we need to, right? So getting ready for that drive, we know that that drive is coming. Okay, now let's say here the ball is on the side that the center wants it from, right? So this person, if they're smart, right, because our defender is still kind of covering that 4 angle a little bit, they're going to pass it down line to the 5 and then into center, right? But here's a situation where we're trying to run a front and press, but our center defender is not able to completely front. And so if that ball goes down to 5, then we need to go into a zone, right? Because now our center defender is behind, right? So if you go back and forth here, right, she's kind of open, but not really. This ball will most likely go down to 5, in which case she will be very open. So we drop back, right? So this girl, right, when that ball goes over here, this girl is going to help. She's going to drop back and go into a zone. And then, oh no, I think my mouse just died. Yikes. Okay. Well, so this girl's going to drop back into a zone, this X4, and then X5 will need to foul and drop or we work into that zone, right? So we're denying the pass into center. And so here the 5 has pretty bad angles, right? Our X5 is covering that near side. The goalie is covering the cross cage and center cage, right? So her angles are not very good at all, right? Now we see the ball goes up to the 4. The angle is a little bit better, but we're shot blocking, we're covering. And our center defender, right, they could also have a hand up to try to block that cross cage. And then our goalie is covering middle and our X4 is covering near side, right? So this same thing, this is ideal, right? If we go into a 4-5 zone, both the 4 and the 5 typically do not have great angles for shooting. All right, as they are passing the ball back and forth, right, they will most likely be shifting a little bit up to better their angles, right? So the 5 will move a little bit higher up, the 4 will move a little bit more towards the 3, right? And if this is the case and they get a little bit too close, our X3 can look at jumping on the 4 and forcing that over, forcing either the ball to be stolen, forcing them to freak out, right? They might drop the ball and not make a bad pass into a steal. So that is if they are 1 stroke away, right? We do not want to go if they're 3 strokes away, even if they're 2 strokes away, unless you are really fast, you're confident you're going to get them. We want to focus on not committing over much because then the 3, right, could go and drive in a little bit, get it overpass, and that's a middle cage slid in pass to a shot, right? So that's going to be a bad opportunity for our defense. Okay, now let's say that they do, right, an angle, right? So in this case here, if you are on the X2, X1, you actually want to be in a softer press, right? We kind of want to invite the ball to the 1-2 side of the perimeter because our center defender is fronting, right? So then they have no option. They would have to drive after that. So we can go into a softer press because we are also anticipating that they're most likely going to go into a drive, right? This is we're going to California, replacing California teams. They have ODP there, right? They know how to do an angle drive just like how we do. So we can look to anticipate that drive, right? A little bit softer on the 1-2. But then once that 2 starts driving, then you want to go back into that hard press unless you are helping from the X1, right? Because we don't want to invite that pass all the way over to 1 after the 2 drive has happened, and then it's an easy pass in for that post up, right? So that the X1 kind of has to play that a little bit, as if they're going to drop off to help on that 2 drive, or if they're going to stay up at 1 if they think that their teammate has got that drive defense down, right? And then of course, if let's say they're passing from the 4 to 5, they didn't run a 2 drive, the X3, the X2, they could be looking as the shot clock is counting down, they could be looking to go counter onto offense. Okay, now let's say that we get a drop from one, right? So let's say that they ran their angle, and they tried to pass that ball to two, whether they forced it or if it was a good pass. But then at that point, we want our one to help there, right? Because that's a really hard pass for our goalie to defend that pass to a shot. And then our X4 and X5 could actually repress, right? Because now technically our center is our fronted there, right? And then if we repressed, then they can't pass that ball back out to the 4 or 5 to look into center, right? So there's no point in that for X4 and X5 to stay back and drop and have that zone. If the ball is now on the 1-2 side, they're inviting that pass to undefended girls up on the opposite side. Okay, now let's say that we're beat on, or if we beat the drive, we want to try to cover the inside and push out, right? So let's say that we did good drive defense. They were not able to pass the ball from the 4 or the 5 to 2, and so instead they swung the ball over to the 1, right? And so on offense, we're taught here, right? If you don't get your initial drive, you lock up, you hold, and you wait for you look for that opposite post isolation here, right? So we call this an isolation because the 1 is very isolated from the 3 or the 4, so it typically will help in preventing a zone, an effective zone. And so if this is the case, that you as a defender need to make sure that you get inside of her, you do not let her have inside water, right? And you try to push her out. Yeah. So you're looking for, you're trying to push her outside of the post so that she has a bad angle, and then it makes the X1 have an easier job. Typically she's basically doing an isolated drop by herself from that one post. And this is usually with not very many seconds left of the shot clock. So you're forcing a shot out of one, and you're pushing out from the 2. Right. And so here, if this person slides up, right, they still would have not a great angle. Typically we'll have a shot block from the X2, right? That girl that drove down. We have a shot block from the X1, and then we maybe a higher level would have a shot block from our center defender. Okay. And I think that, yep, that is everything for our defense tactic. Wow, my mouse just died. That was bad timing. Do we have my stuff is still recording. My mouse died. Do we have AAA?
No, you don't. Sorry. I've been trying to get AAA for a while.
What do you mean you've been trying to get AAA? It's not like there's a shortage of batteries.
Oh yeah, I just keep doing it. I don't
Oh.
know why. I should try to steal that. Basically what I meant.
Okay, I'm gonna go downstairs. See if I can find it.
Good job, team. Your captures are on, yeah.
Last two. I'm gonna take down the gate and see if she can get past it.